All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. All right, excuse me, my voice is a little bad today, but I'm in the process of healing, so y'all gotta understand that. Anyway, I want to talk about the new year, and I want to talk about money, and I especially want to talk about money uh, when it comes to us, to Africans and descendants of Africans who have wound up here in America. Um, the one thing that I wanted to get across was I remember when I was younger, and I can remember my grandmother and a whole bunch of other ladies that they had a Pokino. Well, I'll just get a whole story. They had a Pokino club, and they used to play Pokino once a month, and they would come together and they, make food and all of that kind of stuff, and they so it was their way of socializing and being around one another. But one thing that I picked up from them was insurance, and so I wanted to talk today uh, way into this about insurance. And the reason why I wanted to talk about insurance is because they're virtually, I think there might be a couple of, but they're virtually no more black insurance companies. And everybody in that Pokino club, they had an insurance policy. And the one thing that black folks don't do, black folks don't think, I guess we think we ain't gonna never die. Or, you're never gonna leave this body and move on into transition. So I want to talk about that a little bit because you're gonna die. I'm gonna die. We're all gonna die. But the one thing that white folks do that we don't do, and I talk about this with my wife a lot, is the fact that there's just a lot of black people that don't have insurance policies. And it's dumb because you're gonna die. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying this so that you realize white folks, what they do is, you ever been to a white funeral? Um, when you go to a white funeral, they say a couple words over the deceased, they bury them, and then they go and they split up the money. That's what happens. They go and they split up the money. All right. So just remember that that's what goes on. But we don't do that. We have these long drawn out things. Then it's always, and today is the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death and all that kind of stuff. But Kobe Bryant left his wife $60 million. So what I'm trying to get at is, don't just die. All it was the song, Papa was a Rolling Stone. All he left us was alone, just by ourselves, no money, no nothing. The bottom line is that it takes money for us to live every day here in this world. Because, like I always tell y'all, the God of this world is money. In God, in God we trust, one. That's what it says on the money. So the rest of it is BS. And in fact, we look at, maybe we shouldn't, but we look at a lot of things from the standpoint of money. And we look at it from the standpoint of money, looking at it as that's the measure of success of a person in the United States, especially in the United States of America. So how much, if they got a lot of money, then we consider them to be successful. If you don't have a lot of money, then you're not considered to be successful. Well, what I wanted to talk about was insurance. And the reason why I talk about insurance was all those ladies in the group, they all had insurance policies, but it was insurance policies with black owned insurance companies. There are very few, if maybe one or two, black insurance companies left. Well, something that I learned from my dad was that insurance companies have more money than banks, because most of the time insurance is mandatory. Just like you can't mortgage a house without an insurance policy on it. You can't drive a car without an insurance policy on it. You can't, there's a lot of stuff in our society that can't be done without insurance. And so, and basically, you shouldn't live without a life insurance policy. You should have life insurance on everybody and on everything. Because what? Everybody, once again, I'm going to reiterate that everybody is going to, what? Everybody's going to die. So your insurance policy is not, I mean, even if they don't die for 100 years, eventually they're going to die, and then that insurance policy is going to have to pay off. But what we never do as black people, we never make a contingency plan for what happens when that does happen. And once again, back to all he left us was alone. And you have all different, and there used to be one of the things that has been a lack for us was generational wealth, and insurance policies create generational wealth. All right, so your children should have insurance policies on you. You should have insurance policies on your parents, et cetera, et cetera. Because when in the unforeseen, in the unforeseen future, you're gonna die, or you're gonna die some way, some shape, somehow. And I hate to, I don't like to, I don't want to seem negative, but it's not negative. It's just saying that it's a thing that's inevitable, and we don't make contingency plans for the inevitable. And that's a problem with black folks. Black folks, y'all gotta start making contingency plans, and it doesn't mean, and whether you have one or not, whether you have an insurance policy or not, it has no bearing on your death. You're gonna die. All right. I mean, on October 27th, I had this dissected aorta. I could have died. In fact, people told me I was like a minute from dying, and I could have easily died. So it's not something that's unforeseeable. It's absolutely foreseeable. And so that's why I want to tell y'all, don't be stupid. And here's the difference between putting money in insurance and putting money in the bank is because the insurance policy 100% is going to pay off. The bank account may or may not pay off because it depends on your what? It depends on how disciplined you are as far as being a saver or what you're going to do with the money once you get it. Okay, and so that's the difference. Insurance companies have all the money, and that's what I was trying to say about my dad. My dad taught me that look, insurance companies have way more money than banks because you pay into that insurance, people pay into that, and insurance companies don't pay off. They don't have to pay off every day. So they end up having more money than banks. And they're also, if you're a business owner, they also have capital that banks don't have. So they have access to capital and funding that banks don't have. In fact, most of the large not businesses, but large buildings in the country, they're financed by what? By insurance companies. Insurance companies finance most of the major projects that go on in this country and in the world. They're financed by insurance companies. Why? Because insurance companies can make money every month when those premiums are due. They get the same amount of money or more every month. Now, here's the problem. Black insurance companies have been basically taken apart. There are no more basically black insurance. Like I said, I think Atlanta has an insurance. Atlanta Life Insurance has an insurance company, but even with their insurance company, they don't have the type of assets that a lot of these white insurance companies have. And this is another thing about reparations, because a lot of these white insurance companies, they were funded off of the slave trade. So they were funded off of the slave trade, and they've been funded off the slave trade, and they've had money forever. So all of these major businesses and major things that have been financed through insurance money that they've had for years and years and years and years. All right. So even the oldest black insurance companies, a lot of them went out of business, or they, couldn't survive. Why? Because black folks don't put their money in them. So you got to start going back to insurance companies and if there are no black insurance, I tried to look it up before I made this video. I tried to look up black insurance companies, and so I couldn't really find like a listing of black insurance companies, although I do know there are very few. But you need to put your money in insurance as well as in the bank. All right? Because insurance is guaranteed. It's going to pay off. 100 is going to be 100 when it pays off. And something that I learned in law school is that it transfers by what we call in the law by operation of law. So there's no possibility that you will not get it because it's a legal thing. But bank accounts don't transfer that way. Bank accounts can be probated and held up on. Insurance, if you're the beneficiary of an insurance policy, you get the money. So it's not always like that with bank accounts. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think as I go along. But so you have to realize that you want your money and you want inheritance or whatever, you want to transfer by operation of law, meaning that you 100% you're going to get the money no matter what. Another thing that comes up is trust. Just like, remember when banks used to be called bank and trust company? Well, flow through trust, trust also transfer by operation of law. So if you have money that you want to leave to your children, what you do is you transfer that money by operation of law. That's how you transfer the money. Transfer the money by operation of law. You could put that money in a trust. Go and if you want to know more about trust and more about insurance, go and look it up, because it's important that black people start knowing about this stuff and stop getting played. And when somebody dies, you got to make a GoFundMe account to bury the person. You should also have burial insurance, or if you want a funeral, want a big funeral or whatever. Because if you notice in the black community, only people that give big funerals are politicians and entertainers and athletes. That's because they got cash. All right, but it shouldn't really be that way. If that's what you want, and so check into trust, check into insurance, check into these things that are gonna make you money, because it's inevitable. I keep telling people, black people don't listen. They gotta have I know many instances where people weren't even buried because there was immediately, or weren't cremated immediately because there was no money, or somebody else had to step out the woodwork who had money to pay for them or to fund their homegoing. So please, y'all, just listen to this. Get some insurance, get some life insurance, and get insurance on anything else you need it on. Your house, your business. You can take out insurance on anything. Your business, your house, whatever it is that you have, take out insurance on it, because it's inevitable that at some point you're gonna die. It's inevitable. Anyway, unpleasant. I know for y'all it's an unpleasant subject, but I wanted to bring it up anyway. That's the fastest 15 minutes. Fastest 15 minutes is up. And I'll talk to you later. Hit the like button, subscribe button, all of those buttons.